Hey everybody, today I wanted to talk about something that plagues all gamblers, and that's losing streaks. Now, one of the reasons I really adopted database betting is because I wanted more consistency. And I do have more consistency now. In fact, I'll update my $99 betting challenge, but it's still very, very difficult when you're in the midst of a losing streak. So, the best advice I could give any of you is if you have methods that work, if you've been a winner, stick with what you're doing. But don't raise your bets. Don't start to press. And that brings me to point two, because part of losing streaks are bad beats. It's not just that you're losing, often it's the way you're losing. To give you an example, in this past week, I've had like 3 disqualifications. I have lost oh, countless photo finishes. Just can't seem to buy a break. But that's what happens, whether it be racing or sports. In racing, stewards' decisions, disqualifications can be very, very frustrating, but no worse than any sport. I mean, we've all seen dubious calls that either help a team or hurt a team. So that's all part of it. And how you handle that is crucial. I will admit, I've never thought that I really had the mindset to be a gambler because I struggle with that kind of stuff. Even knowing the stats. One of my famous phrases to myself is, what are the chances? Well, they're pretty good. And if you're a database handicapper, you got to understand that all the statistics you accumulate, that kind of stuff is kind of baked in. So there's no point in complaining about it. But of course, it's human nature that we do. So keep that in mind. Losing streaks are going to have the really bad beats, and you've got to just look at it as a loss. You can't say, what if this had happened? If only this had happened. That brings me to an update on the $99 betting challenge. You can see the statistics right here. This is from June 16th. I'm sorry I didn't break them down this time. I'll work on doing that. But you'll notice there's 239 bets now, a 30.96 winning rate, a 6% ROI. You'll remember in my last video, I think it was over 100%. I said it was coming down. I didn't expect it to come down this much. And at one point, I was actually down. So the way I dealt with it is just looked at it like, hey, this is a really, really bad period. I can't say that I didn't press a little bit. And in fact, you guys remember I talked about my race regression report and I thought it was finalized. No, I was wrong. There were some issues that I had to take care of. I didn't want to restart this time, though. I thought I'll just deal with it. Royal Ascot was a royal pain in the ass for me, but I shouldn't have been betting those races. But I wanted to show you the good, the bad, and the ugly. And that's part of it. I think anybody who's ever gambled before knows that you're not always going to be perfect. It's difficult for somebody like me, and if you're like me, I know you'll be able to relate to this. When you are a perfectionist and you make mistakes, whether it be entering the wrong number or a bet that you should have or should not have made, you tend to beat yourself up. In the midst of this losing streak, one of the bets that I made was an exacta with one horse over another, and I contemplated a box, and it was a $1 exacta. I contemplated a box, and I thought, no, let's just go with this, because of course the bets need to be lower in order to be betting as an investment and not just pure gambling. I'm going to talk about that in a second. But back to this race, you know what happened. The second place finisher, literally on the wire, beat my top choice, and that was a $50 exacta for a dollar bet. Would have made a big, big difference. But that brings me to my second point about this betting challenge, because a lot of you will look at this. You'll notice the profit is $34. And you'll look at that and think, that is nothing. This is pathetic. Right and right. But here's the problem. When you're only betting with $99, you can't make regular bets. That's why that exacta bet was a thought. Most of you would think it's an extra dollar. I'm going to box it. But when you're betting even $6, and you might see some bets here, here's like a $4 bet, a $3 bet, that's 4% of capital. That's a pretty big advantage. And when those are in exactas, like you see here, there's the daily double. You see some other, I'm sure there's some other exactas here and stuff like that. There's one, there's an exacta box. That's a $6 bet. That's a poor bet. I don't have that kind of an advantage, especially in an exacta. And so that's why the $99 is so challenging. And that's really why I wanted to do it, because I wanted to show how different it is when you're trying to make money as opposed to just going out and gambling for a day. It really is a different mindset. And like I said, losing streaks are going to be a part of that. And you've got to be able to adapt to them. And the worst thing you can do is start to press. Now, I want to show you my other account. You remember I opened another account where I was going to look at exotics. And you're going to see here that the results are much, much better. A $658.76 profit. So you're probably thinking, well, Derek, that just proves the point that you should be betting exotics. I went broke 3 times with this account. Now, the profit's still the profit. I typically add 50 in. I think one time I added 70. I forget. I don't think I ever replenished it completely, but honestly, I don't remember. I just know that I went broke a couple of times. That makes my point. Because in this account, in fact, one of my bigger returns was on a $10 wager. That is way too much for a $99 account. And so even though this looks a lot more impressive numbers wise, and this is a 52.6% ROI, you notice the other one was a 6%. It does not make the point that exotic wagering is better. And I had one guy who's been a long time friend, very smart guy, and he talked about how tough it is to be successful with $99 because he understands, he only bets 1% of capital. But whatever you bet, when you only have $99, that can represent a much larger percentage. And this, I'm telling you, this is why so many gamblers go broke. And it's why I went broke twice in this exotic betting account because I was constantly betting above my advantage. Now I have enough in there where I can kind of scale that back and it should be a lot better. But to say that this was purely skill is simply not true. It was skill coupled with irresponsibility. And in that other account, I really wanted to keep it pure because going broke is the worst thing you can do. And really, you can just scale that. If it's not $99, let's say you start with $9.90. Say you start with 9,900. The principles are still going to be the same. You still can't be over betting your advantage. Anyway, I hope these videos are helping you guys out. If not, please leave me some comments. Tell me what direction you'd like to see me go. If you like the channel, please do subscribe or like the videos because that really does help out. If not, regardless, I hope you have a great gambling day. Thanks for listening.